it is by far more significant to practice typewriting skills. However, for the IB final exams, the tests are all done handwritten to prevent possibility of either colluding or cheating, which is difficult because they're testing them on a skill that they do not necessarily develop in their normal lives, or their normal school lives. As a result, it's difficult because you can see how in handwriting it's harder to maintain a stream of consciousness. You are less likely to want to go back and strike through previously written work, whereas on a computer, if you were to log that data, you would have large instances of people constantly erasing lines, going backward and forth, copying and pasting. So in terms of skills, it's important that students are able to realize that these thought processes are happening. So when the final product in the computer, they may not have all the strike-throughs and erases marks that they would have in handwritten tasks. So I think that the handwritten skill will teach them to realize that their thought processes is a constant rough draft turning into a final, whereas typing skills will be what they will eventually use for most submissions in their life. So I think that typewriting skills are by far more important, but the handwriting skills, the ideas behind it is significant.
For the hardware piece, I like to have my students work with computers. It gives my students instant access to the internet, World Wide Web, as well as software-wise or website. I have them frequently use gapminder.org. I teach economics, so my students need to understand data, and this kind of helps put data into more perspective, size idea. This helps the kids also visualize numbers. And for instance, if we talk about GDP, comparing GDP with other countries, these are very large numbers, but through bubbles, we can scale the size, and we're able to compare basically the size of balloons in a way through GDP. It helps kids visualize numbers, a lot of information, it helps them a lot in terms of grasping contents.
Well, for group work, I like to encourage the use of Google Docs. I think it's a good way for students to collaborate together on one project in the same space at the same time. Electronically, it allows them to edit on the fly. It allows them to contribute to each other's work if they delegate tasks. And it overall allows for more flexibility in terms of production. As well as Google Docs, I like to use ManageBack as well, which is a useful tool to share documents with the students and allow them to see any kind of deadlines that they need to meet, or any kind of information that I might need to give to them regarding the class that we're doing.
First hardware that comes to mind that has been ineffective in the class despite its potential to be an excellent tool for research, communication and organization is the smartphone. I find that students are too distracted with the plethora of applications. The students lack discipline when it comes to using their smartphones if given the opportunity to complete any project or to do any research or background reading on the subject. And it is too difficult for a teacher in a class of 20 to 30 students to monitor their activity, and I find it very destructive in class. When it comes to software, there are a lot of options for the students, but when it comes to streamlining the work and submissions of their projects, I feel that the students need to use programs that match the formats of the software that the teacher uses. So things like Apple Mac and submitting documents in page formats presents another hurdle, and it really again disrupts the marking process. So it's important that the students either know how to use the software properly so they can export those files to software that the teacher can access.